Ryan Shelton is a young man on a mission. Since choosing professional sports as his calling 6 years ago, the Kentucky native has sold tickets for the Florida Marlins of Major League Baseball and then worked for several minor league hockey teams. Last spring, he was hired by the Salem Red Sox and their parent organization, Fenway Sports Group, as vice president of ticketing for Boston's Advance A minor league affiliate. Less than half a year later, he was named general manager in Salem, pledging to do a better job of responding to local fans. And he got to help hoist the Mills Cup trophy when Salem won the Carolina League title in September. Ryan Shelton, welcome to the interview.
Oh, thank you for having me, Gene.
I know we've talked before. You believe in goal setting, and I know that becoming a minor league general manager was part of a 5-year plan, thanks in part to a book you got at Starbucks. But talk about your concept of goal setting. You're 36, and you set a goal you wanted to be a GM 5 years ago of a minor league team, and here you are.
That's right. It was at the time that I picked up the book at Starbucks you were referring to. It was 5, where will you be 5 years from today? It was sitting on just a gift shelf at a Starbucks. I was waiting in line. It was the Monday before Thanksgiving in 2008, and I was working for a ECHL hockey team, which many in the area here are familiar with ECHL, with the Express being here before. Right. And the team was on hard times. I had been there for about 90 days. I had just left the Florida Marlins to go to Augusta to work for this team, and the team was about to go out of business. And as I was waiting in line, we were the whole staff was about to go home for Thanksgiving, not knowing if there would be a team when we got back in town. And over that break, over the Thanksgiving break, I was able to flip through this book. It was really, it wasn't intended to have substance. It was 80 pages with a lot of graphs, quotes, and just a lot of filler. But for me, it was very impactful. It talked about the importance of envisioning where you want your life to be and setting specific actionable steps. I don't want to talk about being better. I don't want to talk about advancing my career. I want to talk about the specific steps that I want to make.
And something clicked, and here you are.
Absolutely.
By the way, did the team make it through the Thanksgiving break? Did they make it to the end of the season?
December 3rd was when they folded. So we did get back, and the team did fold.
The Augusta Lynx.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
I know that you told me, Ryan, that I guess you were flown up to Boston for the final interview for this GM position.
Yes.
And that you told the Red Sox people that it was no accident that you were up there and that you were finalists, that you really felt that this is something that was part of your plan, to be at the point where you would be that desirable as a candidate.
That's right. I wanted to firmly express that because of this plan I put in place 5 years ago, that I wasn't here by coincidence. I wasn't here by accident. It wasn't particularly a position that I was pursuing at that moment, but it was a position that I had been working toward. So it made sense for me to be in the room.
You know, attendance in Salem at the ballpark's been down the last few years. You know, in the past, the Avalanche and Red Sox have set records. Can you put your finger on any one reason why attendance has been down at baseball games in Salem the last few years?
I think there may have been a point where we took for granted, because this is such a great community that supports so strongly the team, and we've had baseball consistently for 58 years. We may have taken our eye off of what it takes to help build crowds and help drive crowds and help entertain those crowds while they're in our building. So I think we just took our eye off the ball and opened the gates and hoped that people continued coming to games. That led to a consistent decline over a 4-year period, and we were up slightly this year. I have noticed a lot of the commentary I've read recently does refer to attendance being down again. While it's not where we wanted it to be by any means, we did start to lay a foundation this year, and even fighting through some of the weather that we had, we started controlling the things that we knew we could control, and we did still see a slight attendance increase.
Now, the Red Sox, of course, came back and won the Carolina League pennant.
Yes.
And, you know,
yes.
After you've been on the job about a month. But how much does at A ball, how much does a winning team make a difference? Or is it really the experience, you know, getting the casual fan to come back and say, hey, I like this, I want to come back?
Winning doesn't hurt. It definitely doesn't hurt. It was exciting there at the end. It was even the way we were able to finish. And I will say that for the first time in my career, I felt like the front office and the fans actually contributed to the win. I told the story recently to our part-time staff at a picnic that we had, that talking with the players after the game, there's generally niceties that are exchanged, a lot of thank yous for your hard work during the year. and I've experienced that for 6 years now. The players told me specifically that after having been in Potomac and seeing 800 fans on Sunday night at a game where there were dollar tickets and dollar hot dogs and only had 800 people.
Potomac's who they played for the championship.
That's right, Potomac for the championship. When we came back here for Game 3 and they saw 4,000 fans, 4,000 very loud fans banging the thunder sticks, many players expressed to me that there was no chance we were going to lose that game.
Yeah, I know. I talked to catcher Blake Swihart afterwards, and Mookie Betts, the second baseman, and that's one of the first things they remarked about. And that crowd was really wired into the game. They were hanging on every pitch, and a lot of times you don't really see that. So as a baseball fan, I'm sure that's something you'd like to see, bigger crowds and more people kind of wired in.
That's right, and there's the things we're doing during the game do connect to the energy in the building. Billy talked to me. It was on Star Wars night when I was down in the field about to take Darth Vader out for the first pitch, and Billy pulled me aside.
Billy
and asked,
McMillan, the manager.
That's right. Asked me about why we were doing so many new things, and that he had observed it and felt like it kept the fans almost primed for what they were going to do on the field. So when we got to the end of a close game and the crowd was very rowdy, we know that at times baseball crowds can be somewhat silent at times.
Right.
That the crowd was very loud. It was because throughout a game we were keeping people engaged constantly. We had the screaming chicken running through the stands. We had our game night staff really keeping fans amped up so that when we have Price on the mound with a chance to close out the game, the fans are all still primed and ready for that.
Well, that's pretty good that Billy McMillan noticed because whenever you talk to Billy, it's all about player development, and that's the focus, of course, in A-ball.
Absolutely.
But for him to notice that's pretty good. And I know a couple weeks ago, Ryan, as we tape here, you sent an open letter to fans, promising the team would be better listeners, elevate the level of customer service. Why did you feel it was important? And you also put an email address in there for feedback.
Yes.
Why did you think it was important to send that letter out?
We really wanted fans to understand that we do care what they have to say. There's a lot of things that we can observe and know within the office that we need to improve, but there's things that we're not going to think about. There's things that we're too close to the situation. We don't get to come to our own games as fans. We're very close to the operation. So feedback at salemsox.com was put in place so fans could tell us exactly what they'd like to see different. We're not going to be able to take care of everyone's need. We can't please everyone all the time, but we are responding to those. One thing we are very proud of is since we put that account out, we've received almost 100 emails now, and we've responded to everyone within 24 hours, either myself, Tim Anderson, or Alan Lawrence. We've been very, very attentive to the fans.
Some good ideas?
There's been some great feedback. I'll say one that can't commit yet. We're going to be able to do. It does look like we will be able to. A fan wrote to us right after the championship how great it would be to have the team set in the team store. We have the baseball card set that we do every year,
right,
but half those players are gone. It still has Cicchini on the team. It still has Henry Owens. These sets don't include Mookie Betts. He was in Greenville at the time. So this fan recommended, it would be great if you would do that. It looks like we're going to do that now, and I've told the fan that if we do, I'm going to send him the first set for free. It's something we're so close to the situation, it never would have occurred to us to do that. It's great feedback.
Sometimes it's great to have set of eyes from outside the inner organization to give you some feedback. One thing I know you wanted to do is you also want to kind of remind people that come to games that some of these guys they see are going to be in the major leagues maybe as early as the next year.
Absolutely.
Jackie Bradley Jr., 2012 was here. He's been in the majors this year. Will Middlebrooks a couple years ago. I think you said 5 guys from the 2012 team have already had.
That's right. 5, not just from the 2012 team, 5 guys from the starting lineup on opening night. So it was 5 of those 9 guys.
From A-ball all the way to the majors within a season.
That's correct. And we want to educate fans more to that and understand one bit of feedback we do here that we don't have direct control over, it is something that Boston controls, is the player movement. And we do get that feedback that fans would like to see players here for years. Unfortunately, if a player is here for years, his development probably isn't going.
Right.
At the same time, we want winning teams. We also want to be able to see players longer. So we want to show fans essentially transfer that sense of pride. Rather than having the pride for the player being here for a long period of time, we want them to be proud they're going to see him on Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN.
Your experience in minor league hockey, which included time in New Hampshire with Manchester, which was
Yes.
a Kings farm team. You got to meet Jonathan Quick, the
That's
Kings,
right.
LA Kings goaltender, and Luke Robitaille when they came through with the Stanley Cup. Your experience in minor league hockey, Ryan, did it really teach you about attracting casual fans, you know, with promotions or in-game hijinks?
It did. One thing that when I started in hockey, I was, of course, in Augusta for a short time and then went on to the South Carolina Stingrays, also in the ECHL. Being in two non-traditional hockey markets and being in the South selling hockey, you weren't selling the on-ice product as much. You were selling the overall experience of coming to a game. Being a late-in-life hockey fan myself, I was always able to convey to fans that the great thing with hockey is you don't have to know what's going on. You don't have to know all the rules. It's fast-paced, a lot of action. If something good happens, a loud horn's going to go off and everybody's going to sing a song. We're going to transfer those types of concepts here. Not everyone is coming out ready to keep a scorebook, though we do want to have a game next year where we teach fans how to keep score.
How to keep score, right?
That's a tradition that's handed down from fathers to sons for generation to generation. We're going to have a baseball 101 night next year where we
It's a great
teach
idea.
fans how to do
It's sort of
that.
a dying art at this point, I think.
It is, but we know that every fan's not going to be into that. There is going to be the casual fan that just wants to come out for a nice night at the ballpark. It's incredibly inexpensive, and if you come out on one of the Thursday nights where we have specials, it's a great way to enjoy a night at the park.
Cheap beverages. Just a couple minutes left. A couple of quick
Yes.
impressions. How did it feel to be on the field with the players and manager Billy McMillan hoisting that Mills Cup trophy? Less than 4 weeks into your tenure, it had to be a good feeling.
It was amazing. It felt great. It was very storybook. I did comment a number of times after that night that it felt as though there was a sense of inevitability to it. The team was so hot. They played so well. They worked so hard. They went through so many call-ups. And to be able to be there at that point, it felt right.
They won their last 11 games, I think, regular season
That's
and
right.
playoffs. It's kind of rolled through. And working on your next 5-year plan?
That's right, yes.
Okay. And just to wrap up, what would you like to tell Salem Red Sox fans, Ryan, and maybe those who have never been to a game or come in frequently? What would you like to tell them about coming back to the ballpark?
I think things they're going to see next year, and we want to encourage fans to come early to be able to see what we're trying to accomplish. You're going to see a higher level of customer service. We're going to be very attentive. We're not just going to respond to complaints. We're going to anticipate needs, and they're going to see a much higher level of customer service. And the in-game experience overall is going to be better than probably what they've experienced in recent years, where our game night staff has been challenged to come up with new ways to engage and entertain fans at all times.
All right, sounds good. We're going to have to leave it there. Ryan Shelton, the GM of the Salem Red Sox.
Thank you, Gene.
Thanks for coming on. This is The Interview. I'm Gene Marrano. We'll be right back.